Oops. Hello. My audience is on TikTok, but I'm also filming on YouTube. So that's why my face is always looking over there, because I'm talking to my TikTok screen. Okay. Hello, I've got someone here. Renee, you've been Katrina, I know that name. Sandra B. User 583, catchy name. Feeling a little bit punchy. Anyway, sorry I look like this. I just came back from the gym, so. Well, no, I didn't. I came home from the gym and then I had some appointments and I just never got a chance to shower. So that's why I look all raggedy. I look like I'm ready to go out in a fishing boat, but it's just the way I look at the gym. Okay, so let's get going with where are you from? I'm always fascinated by that, as you know. So I'm here in Vancouver, Canada. So I'd love to know where you're joining from. What part of the world? I get people from all over the world. Okay, hello, Katrina. Lake Havasu, probably saying that wrong. Arizona, Lake Havasu. How else could you say that? Havasu. Am I close? Okay, Connecticut. Hi, Connecticut. Spokane, Washington. I used to go there when I was a kid. My dad had some clients in Spokane, and we used to drive down there. Spokane, Washington. I remember that very clearly, that we went into this, my dad used to build boats, and we went into this boat docking area, and I got rock candy. It was candy that looked like rocks. I remember that really specifically. I was probably 3. It's funny what we remember. Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I didn't know Pittsburgh was in Pennsylvania. Or is there 2 Pittsburghs? Kenya. Hi, Kenya. That's a ways away. Originally, I came from Latvia, but now 5 years in the UK. Excellent. Latvia. I kind of know where that is. Romania, I know where that is. You had it right. Oh, I did, eh? Oh, Havasu. Very good. I got that right. Because I get a lot of clients from around the world, and I always apologize right up front all the things I'm going to say wrong. Okay, so, and I'm also filming on YouTube these days. So but if you're on YouTube watching me, the reason you're only going to see the side of my face is my audience is really on TikTok. So I'm filming at the same time here. I'm doing a live at the same time. So I'll put the screens a little bit closer. There we go. Okay, so Riverside, California. There is a few Pittsburghs, but Pittsburgh Steelers in Pennsylvania. Oh, okay, Steelers. I don't even know what that is. Is that football? So I don't know anything about sports. Steelers. That's football, right? Latvia is one of the Baltic cities. It's Latvia, Lithuania. Estonia near Poland. Oh, okay. Interesting. I learned so much. Baltic countries. I didn't know that. Interesting. Okay, well, let's get going. We've got Saturday afternoon. So it's usually slower. People are out busy with the kids, and that's fine. It means you're going to get all your questions answered, I'm assuming. So let's get going now. My name is Lisa. I'm a parenting coach. If you go on my website, it's bratbusters.com. You can hire me for coaching, buy one of my courses, or download my free behavior board. You're on that too. That's what makes it work. That's what makes it different. You got to give respect to get it. You got to work for it. You got to earn it. Okay, football. So I was right. Pittsburgh Steelers, football. It just strikes me as funny. My 2-year-old is a bitter. Is bitter? What do I do? Bitter? Do you actually mean you've got a bitter 2-year-old? What does bitter mean with a 2-year-old? I thought that was only little old ladies, like very bitter. I don't know what you mean. Or was that just a misspell? I've never heard that before. I got another one the other day, and it was, can 2-year-olds get embarrassed? Can a toddler? And I said no. My gut reaction was no. I guess they can in the moment, but they forget it very, very quickly. I've got a really funny story about my daughter, but I can't tell it. But yeah, humiliated in the moment, and then 5 seconds later, she's completely forgot about it. It was a good story, but I can't tell it here. Okay. Any tips? Oh God, you're going to hate my answer. Any tips for developmental activities for my 11-month-old. That's the accelerated learning stuff. I don't believe in all that stuff. I think let kids be kids, let them play in the mud, get all dirty, play with blocks. I don't do any accelerated learning. I've got a few reasons for it. You don't really want to know why, but plus when they go to school, if they've already learned the alphabet and all this stuff that parents are so proud of teaching their kids, they're going to be really bored in school. So yeah, I just like them to be kids as long as possible. Yeah, let them play in the mud. That's what I'd be doing with an 11-month-old. Here's a mud patty, go play, go have fun in it. Like, I don't like the flashcards. I've got a lot of reasons for it just through experience. Like wouldn't have thought of it, but it's through experience. Kids who have been accelerated tend to struggle a bit more later on, which is interesting, isn't it? Cute hair. This is my gym hair. Oh, it's just at the gym. Until he tries to eat it. Yeah, the mud pie. You know what I'm getting at. Not a mud pie with an 11-month-old, but yeah, just get them into mess and all that stuff. I'm just a real firm believer in let kids be kids as long as possible. They've got how many years in school to do homework and studying, and that being such a huge part of their lives. I held off on all that stuff. Now, my son was labeled gifted. He was offered a special scholarship in a special school at 3 years old, very young. And I said, no, there's no way. He was, and I held him back as like I held him where he was with all his peers for as long as possible. It wasn't until he hit high school they segregated him, but I had no control over that. But yeah, I don't like all that because yeah, I just want them to fit in. You can't make a smart kid stupid anyway. Like, you know what I mean? You said let them play in a mud pie. I know, I was just joking. You get the idea. Just let them be kids. Don't take me literally. My 2-year-old is, a biter. Oh, a biter. That makes sense. Why didn't I figure that out? A biter. Yeah, I have a course on that if you're interested. It's on Bratbusters.com. It's toddlers who bite and hit and all that. It just goes into it in great detail. But basically, every time they bite, you have a consistent corrective action. It's not words. One word, no, and that's it. Say no, and then you take them away from the person they bit, take the person away, take a toy away, whatever. Make sure there's a consistent corrective action. But yeah, because they learn through repetition. They don't learn once. They might learn after the 10th time, maybe the 100th time that you do it. My toddler's been loving playing in the dirt. It's adorable. Yeah, it's such a short period of time that they can just not have to think about anything. They can just be fun. And they're learning through play. They're learning through exploring their bodies, what their bodies can do, how it feels to play in the mud, how it, all that stuff. And I'm a real fussy person, but I still let my kids do all that stuff. Oh, I can't answer this. I'll read it out because I've already read it. Now I've commented on it. Coincidentally, your name is Muddy. And I was just talking about mud. Anyway, I have a 3-year-old grandson coming out of abuse, stable with us, but now Uncle wants to adopt suggestions. I can't answer that. That's a big question. And even in coaching, I wouldn't take that on. That's a custody issue. That's a legal issue. I don't get into legal issues. Like I don't discuss medication, nutrition, legal issues. I have some comments, but I can't be giving you advice on that stuff. It's, yeah, it's a big one. So if you want my help, I could maybe chat about it with you, but even then it's tricky. Okay. It helps if you put the age down. I thought, what? Oh, that's me. Oh, you said, let's double tap the screen for her. She always brings us so much value. That's a like. Thanks for that. I thought, who are you double tapping? I'm 62 years old. I don't understand all this stuff. But if you double tap, you get a like, right? I found that out the hard way. I was watching something that I didn't like, and I tried to get rid of it. And it was some awful thing on some screen somewhere. Anyway, I double tapped, and it turned out I liked it. That's how I know that's what double tap means. My 3-year-old only eats a few foods. Okay, I don't discuss nutrition because I'm not a nutritionist or a doctor, so it's kind of it's out of my lane. But I will tell you what I did with my kids. Okay, I was extremely good at hiding nutritious stuff in their food. So whenever they were eating something, chances are there was ground up spinach or wheat germ or flax seeds. I was brilliant at hiding healthy stuff in their food. They never ate anything that wasn't laden with something healthy. So that's what I would suggest you do, and make foods look like fun too. But yeah, they're typically very, and I also catered to taste buds. I didn't push food on my kids that they didn't like. And I used to say, you can eat whatever you want as long as it's healthy. I didn't have junk in the house. So like they didn't get chips or candy or desserts or anything. So it was just all healthy food. So I said, you can eat whatever you want as long as it's healthy. So like they had to have 3 vegetables every dinner and that was it. But they just learned from a really young age, but they could choose what they were, not every night, but I had a list of things that I knew they liked and I cooked around that. The rule was though, that they had to try everything. They just didn't have to eat it. So I'd often present something new that they didn't used to like. And I'd say, taste buds change. You have to try this again. And then they'd end up liking it. But they were both quite fussy, especially my son. Let them help with cooking. Yeah, that can help too. Yeah, make them part of it. I didn't do that because I hated cooking so much. I just wanted to get it done. So yeah, I didn't let them help a lot. We've all got things we're good at and not so good at. I wasn't good at letting them help me cook. I just wanted to get it done. Yeah, I appreciate all your teachings, especially obliterating the timeout. I can't stand it. I absolutely hate timeout. I think it's so mean because I teach respect and I think it's really disrespectful. You're not even worth talking to. You go nose to wall in that corner and you think about what you did. I just think it's mean. There's better things to do. 62, you look amazing. Oh, thank you. Like this is my gym wear. I'll tell you, I go to a really muscle gym and it's me. I call it the daycare centers. It's me and a bunch of young muscle bound guys. It's like, I could be their grandmother. So yeah, I'm the old lady in the gym. We are just 60 and don't know where to turn. Oh, I see. That's the one with your grandson? Yeah, I don't know. If you want to hire me, we can just do one session and just chat about it and see if I could help you. Yeah, just take me out for a test drive and see if I could help. I might be able to offer some insights or maybe, I don't know. I don't know. That's a tricky one. You're talking about adopting it, like, their uncle adopting. I don't know him. I don't, it's tricky. It's very tricky. Yeah, my daughter hates onion, tomatoes, but I literally blend them in the sauce. Do you know, I remember once one of my kids went to a friend's house and I used to make everything from scratch. And they went and they actually made pizza too. I don't think they made the dough, but they were making the pizza, right? And my kid, I think it was my son, he came home and he says, their pizza sauce is really red. But the thing is, they weren't blending spinach into their pizza sauce. I thought that was pretty funny. I got caught like busted. I didn't tell him why, but it's funny. Mm. I'm just reading through some of these are just comments. They're not questions. So that's why I'm taking so long. They also eat with eyes. Try make some fruit face on porridge. Yeah, that's good. Try to make food fun. Didn't work with my kids, but yeah, it can work with some kids. I don't eat with my eyes. Like my food, you should see the way I eat. I'm a gluten-free health food vegan. So it looks like something you put in a pig trough. Like I don't present my food well at all. It doesn't make any difference to me at all. I don't care how my food looks. I just care as long as it's healthy and it tastes okay. That's all I care about. So yeah, but as a kid, I didn't care either. So, and my kids didn't seem to either. Now they both care about how their food's presented. But yeah, but it can work for some kids for sure. Well, I don't know what I'm not going to answer that because I would if I have to ask too many questions before I can answer, I can't. Like it's too many unanswered questions there. Okay. My youngest never turns in his schoolwork on time. He takes forever at unpleasant tasks like dishes. So he's a procrastinator and then he just takes his time because he doesn't want to do it, but put a time limit on it. I'd say, look, so sure you can play video games tonight so long as you get the dishes done within 15 minutes. So just start talking like that. Just set a timer and say, okay, 20 minutes to, sure you can watch TV tonight, but you got to do the dishes within. So don't say you can't watch TV tonight if you don't. Put it this way. Say, oh, you like watching TV? You want to watch that movie? You want to play video games tonight? So long as you finish the dishes within this 20-minute timer, sure. So yeah, just put conditions on things. It's not discipline. It's just, it's an incentive to get stuff done quicker. Doesn't get his homework done on time. If you don't get your homework done on time, then there'll be a consequence for that. I would punish that. If he didn't get his homework done or whatever, I would not punish, but I'd say, okay, the consequence is there's no TV tonight. So just always make sure that they understand they're accountable. That's what you're teaching here. It's the accountability. Do you know, whenever I see someone, I live downtown, and often I'll see people get a ticket, a parking ticket. They'll come running out to say, wait a minute, I was only in there for a minute. And the person says, it's already done. There's nothing I can do. And they start arguing. I know they were not raised with any accountability. If I ever get a ticket anywhere, I own it. I'm like, oh, shoot, I shouldn't have done that. I just own it. I'm very accountable for my actions. But yeah, whenever I see someone arguing a parking ticket that they're obviously at fault for, they're above the law, right? They're above the rules. And I know exactly how they were raised. No accountability. So yeah, it's okay to teach your children to be accountable. That's actually a good thing. It makes our life with all these adults a lot easier. Yeah. Well, you said, I've done that. He just whines and still takes forever. He knows he can't game. Okay, I'd get a system in place. Get a system. Say, here's the new chore chart, or here's the new homework system. Write it all out. And then it's up to him whether or not he gets the gaming, or he might have to do something. Just go on my behavior board and put down, you must do homework by such and such a time or whatever. Get a system in place. Make it very clear. Put it on the behavior board and just start from there. There's a consequence if he doesn't. I got a ton of ideas, but I don't know the ages. I don't know other siblings in the house makes a difference too, because I like to invent leverage, and if there's other siblings, it can be trickier. So it's a whole thing. But yeah, I was coaching someone a little while ago, and they thought I'd frozen on Zoom, because if they'll say something, sometimes I'll know what I usually say, and then I think, no, I got a better one for this family. And then I go like this. It's like I go into a trance. I'll go like this, and I'll just freeze, and then I'll think, got it. This is what I want you to do. So I've done that. Just happened recently. It used to happen a lot more, and I realized don't freeze when you're thinking. But yeah, Lisa, are you still there? Yeah, I'm just thinking. So now I say, give me a second. I want to think about this, and then I'll do it. But yeah, so many times I just freeze when I'm thinking. I go into like a trance. I was going to go into a trance with that. That's why I mentioned that. Any tips for 4-year-old daughter who won't stop sneaking snacks in her room when we sleep? Well, how does she have access to that? Like I wouldn't have had access. How does she have access to snacks? Are they everywhere? Like, I didn't have junk food in the house, so my kids never would have been able to hide anything. They could have hidden vegetables, but why would they do that? So yeah, are you sort of setting her up for that? Like, are there too many things that are just like a whole bunch of chocolate around the house that she wants to hoard? So it's kind of twofold. Does she have an issue with food? I don't know. I'd have to research that one. I don't know why she's sneaking snacks. And the fact that they're out there and they're accessible is the first thing I'd do. Make sure that there's no snacks in the house, or if there are, they're locked away so she can't get to them. Because when you say snack, I'm thinking not healthy. She's not hoarding apples, right? Oh, why would a child snap out of a tantrum at school as soon as the parent walks in the door? Well, that's not a tantrum. They don't snap out of tantrums. So, yeah, just having a scene, the parent walks in. I don't know. I don't know what's going on there. I have no idea. Like, that doesn't add up. As a simple question, it doesn't add up to me. Having a massive tantrum at school, parent walks in and they just stop. Doesn't make sense. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. He's 10 and has always been this way. 3 hours to put away one load of laundry, wasting his weekend. Yeah, that's why I'd get a system in place. Say, look, we're going to fix this. You're a massive procrastinator. And that's okay sometimes, but we want to fix this up. So just pick one thing that you're going to do at a time, though. Just maybe do the dishes, do that one, or the homework, whatever. Just pick one battle and say, okay, we're going to fix this problem. Get it done. Have some incentive so that he does get it done. But yeah, it's an interesting personality there. I've met people who are very laid back and they tend to be more like that, but he's obviously not driven. You haven't found what entices him enough yet. What really drives him? What could entice him to get stuff done quicker? You'd have to figure that out. So if you want my help with that, you can hire me and we'd figure out what kind of lure could you use. You just haven't found it yet. My 9-year-old is getting tested for autism. His behavior is getting out of hand and I'm struggling. Yeah, that's not really a question. I don't discuss ASD on here. Autism spectrum disorder. That's a coaching issue because it's more of a specialty. I only deal with that in coaching. So, because they're all so unique and different, right? The only incentive he likes is gaming. Yeah, to work out a system then. Figure if you want my help with that, you can hire me for that. We live in a 2-bedroom mobile home, peanut butter, chips, candy. She uses a stool. Well, I wouldn't have that stuff in the house. And if I did, I would have it locked. Put a lock on it. I just would. Why? She thinks, and if she's doing that, the consequence isn't enough to make her stop. She's 4 years old, right? So, but yeah, it's too enticing. It's almost like having alcohol in front of an alcoholic. Like, it's almost too much for her to handle for some reason. But the fact that that stuff's in the house, and that stuff is really addictive, especially the sugar. I never liked sugar when I was a kid, and I still don't like it, but I really hated it. And I remember all the kids used to fight to sit beside me at birthday parties because they got all my icing. I'd scrape it off all the cake. I couldn't stand it. And they'd say, can you please give Lisa a corner piece if I don't get it? So they'd sit beside me and get the corner icing. I hated it. But yeah, chips I love, but I didn't need a lot of junk food. But yeah, you got too much stuff in the house. You've built up this taste buds for this kid. Obviously has cravings for all this stuff. Too much salt and sugar. It's addictive. So yeah, that's what I would do. How do I respond to insults from a 7-year-old when he doesn't get his way? So he gets all snotty when he doesn't get what he wants, when he wants, and how he wants it. Okay, so I would just say if he's getting snot, unless it's really a name call or something, if he's just getting snotty, I would just say whatever, and then I'd go back to whatever I was doing. So I'd let him know I heard him, but that ain't going to work on me. Okay, and then if he says anything really horrible, I'd say there's going to be a consequence for that. So yeah, there's no way I would take that kind of sass. Like I wouldn't respond to it. Unless it's something really horrible, then there'd be a consequence. Would you include music in the media blackout for teens? No, music's fine. It's just screen time that I do. Music is just fine. And also if you have like family movie night, don't do that when they've got a blackout. You know what I mean? Like the whole family, oh, we're going to go in the other room and we're going to watch a movie together. When you're doing media blackout with any kid, you do it with them. And you use that time to bond. Hey, look, there's no screens tonight or today, whatever. How about we play a game? No, I hate you. I hate you. Okay, fine. Then walk away. And then later on, when they've calmed down, say, you ready for that game yet? Just keep inviting them in. Keep trying to bond with them. And you do it with them. He gets really bad, even starts kicking and throwing things. Yeah, that's okay. How old was that? I missed that one. 7-year-old. Okay, gets it. Yeah, throwing things, kicking. Okay, after he's finished doing it, you try and restrain him if you can. So you can restrain when they get violent. And then after he's done, if he has damaged something or kicked you, say, and you do not discuss the scene. You never say, when you were having a tantrum or a fit or a scene, don't talk like that. Just say, you kicked me, there's going to be a consequence for that. Do you understand? Not you, but that's what you say. Do you understand? So you can discipline or have a consequence for a bad action that they did during a scene, but you never discipline a scene ever. I don't discuss it. Can you give advice on leadership skills? That's all I do. If you want some basic understanding of what I teach, you can go into my Start Here playlist at the top of TikTok. Also on my website, I have a free behavior board, and that's on my homepage, and it's all free, and it kind of explains this, how you get started with this. To me, leadership is encouraging children to make good choices. That's all it is. It's not about discipline. It's not about reward. None of that. It's just encouraging them to make good choices. Because my kids were self-disciplining. Because I got all that. I taught them. I disciplined them when they were tiny, so that they learned how to self-discipline. Because they knew that mom knew how to take care of business. So if they did make a bad, I used to say to them, if your good life is good, if your bad life ain't so good, I'll make sure of it because I'm your mom. So they knew, they were very accountable. They understood that mom was going to come in and take care of business if they made a poor choice and they did something naughty. They knew that mom was going to come in. They just knew it. It was 100% predictable. And they never asked me for something if they knew that my answer would be no. And they knew. So they never heard the word no because they never asked for anything. If we were out shopping, can we get a chocolate bar? Never in a million years would they have asked. They got the odd one, but that was my choice. It's not a treat if they ask. You're filling a demand. But yeah, they would never have asked for anything when we were out like that. Like, it just wouldn't have happened. So that's leadership, is that you're bringing out the best in them and they're happy. So they're problem solvers. They understand that, hey, they're accountable. So they're never in trouble. And also, you're a really good ear. You listen to understand. You don't listen to get to lecture with. Like, you don't listen to gather information to lecture with. So yeah, they can tell you anything. You're a safe place to land. But they also know you know how to take care of business. Children need, crave, and want a leader. If you don't provide this leadership for them, they will go searching it out with their peers. They're going to be susceptible to bullying, or they're going to search it out from the Kardashians, the drug dealer on the corner, the internet. They're going to go in search of a leader. That makes them very susceptible out in the world, makes them vulnerable. So you want to be the leader at home. If you're the leader at home, they take your leadership umbrella everywhere they go. So how I react to 3 years old when she's done something she knows is not good, but she does it anyway. Just put it on the behavior board. Gosh, just a sec. Start using that behavior board. It's not about the specific rule. It's about your ability to follow through. It's about your ability to teach them right from wrong, and to teach them that when they do something wrong, there's a consequence for that. Could you imagine, would we ever really stop at a stop sign or never speed if there wasn't potentially a consequence? If we were told, by the way, you will never get a speeding ticket in your whole life, wouldn't you be more inclined to speed? But what if you thought, here, think about this. This is the kind of mother I was. They knew that if they ever sped, there'd be a speeding ticket. I didn't let stuff go. They hardly ever got in trouble, but if they did, they would own it. They'd say, by the way, I'm sorry, I forgot to do that, or whatever. How about no TV tonight? That was how it went in our household. But what if you knew every single time you sped, you'd get a speeding ticket? Would you ever speed again? No, right? It's like that with parenting. What if they knew every time they did something naughty, you knew how to take care of business? You would make sure there's a consequence for that. Would they ever do anything naughty? Why would they? Doesn't make any sense. Past the age of 3. Under that, they're toddlers. They don't make any sense. Any advice on 2-year-old who isn't talking? Oh, congratulations. Usually the first child, everyone wants them to talk and walk. And then by the time you have subsequent kids, it's like, oh, they could be 5 years old. I could care less if they're walking or talking. I'm generalizing. I'm making a joke about that. But yeah, I knew a 3-year-old who didn't walk or talk till she was 3, then got up and never shut up and ran. So it just was in her own time. Don't worry too much about those milestones. And if you're really concerned, take them to a doctor. I'm not a doctor. Maybe there's some developmental thing going on, but it's quite common for 2-year-olds not to talk. Well, this is a bit of a tell here. How can I teach my daughter 9 to compromise? She always expects her way or the highway with her friends. That's learned behavior. Does she get away with that at home? So that's a learned behavior. She must have practiced that at home. She's learned that somewhere. So does she get her own way at home all the time? No, she doesn't. So she doesn't, but she's just bossy with her friends. I don't know. I don't know. That doesn't add up to me. It doesn't make any sense. Why would she be like that? Unless you're too much of an authority and she's rebelling. It could go either way. Either you're the pleaser or the authority. The leader, they don't tend to do that. But maybe that could be, maybe that's an exception. I don't know. My 14-month-old isn't walking yet, but I'm not rushing because when he hard work, yeah. Yeah, my son walked at 1 on his first birthday. He took his very first step. My daughter was 14 months when she started walking. And I was thrilled. I mean, she could have gone to 16 months. I would have been thrilled. Once they're on their feet, they're all feet, no brains, right? Oh, there's so much more work because they're dangerous. They're always clunking their heads on something. Um, that could be, I'm quite bossy. Yeah, it's learned behaviors. What I said initially? It's learned behavior. So she's learned it somewhere. Yeah. Yeah. So either you're the authority. Yeah. Okay. That makes sense. Now it makes sense. 10-year-olds and divorce advice. Well, we divorced when our kids were 9 and 14. And they were devastated when we told them. But what happened was he still came over every night for dinner for a week or two after that, trying to keep things, gradually get into it. And we never argued before or after. We never fought or anything in front of the kids. So they didn't see any of that negative stuff. They really don't care if you're divorced or not. They just care that you get along. And we still turned up to everything together, all their graduations, all that. We still see each other for Christmas and all that. So we didn't have any issues. So always put your kids first and let them know that. Say, this is just because we don't love each other. That's why we're separating. We don't want to be together anymore, but it has nothing to do with you. We're still respect each other and, but we're still on the same page parenting wise. So yeah, just don't fight. That they don't care that they don't care that you're not together. They just care that you get along. That's all. I tell this story a few times, and I probably shouldn't tell it because it was about a principal. If he ever watches, he'd know who I'm talking about. But it was the stupidest thing he ever said. Was he said about my kids, I can always tell, he says, it's so nice to deal with kids like yours. Because I'm so sick and tired of dealing with these difficult kids from broken homes. And he was a principal of a middle school. And my kids came from a broken home. And I didn't consider it broken. Do you know what I mean? I just thought, what a sweeping statement. What an insult to all the people who were struggling. I just thought that was really rude. I didn't tell them, by the way, my kids come from a broken home too. But it was the fact that we didn't fight. And because he'd seen us together, my ex and I together, working on projects at school together. So I guess he thought we were together, right? Because we get along. I guess you're not supposed to get along if you're not together. I don't get that. But anyway. So yeah, just get along. Get along. Put your kids first. I say I've taught this. I only taught it once, and I hated it. I never did it again. They fought the whole time. I was so disgusted. I taught us a workshop in person called Parenting Through Divorce, and I said, turn up together. Do not bring girlfriends, boyfriends, new partners. Just you, both parents, turn up to meet in the parking lot and walk in together and sit together. Well, the fighting that went on, I was disgusted, and I never taught it again. Can't even get along and for an hour's workshop. I just thought that was horrible. Those poor kids. That's what messes the kids up. It's your fighting. Okay, so it's learned behavior. How do I correct that? So many arguments with her and her friends. Okay, if you say that you're bossy, good for you for recognizing that. Then you start saying, by the way, I was too bossy then. I've got to be, every time you're bossy, say stop being bossy, unless it's something that's really necessary, like, get in the car, we're going to school. But say, don't be a right fighter, by the way, right? Bossy people are right fighters. My way or the highway, I'm always right. And it comes from insecurity, by the way. Bossiness and right fighting both come from insecurity. So start admitting when you mess up. You know what? Last night I messed up. I was too bossy. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to take you out for ice cream to make it up to you. Start talking like that. I'm really good at apologizing. Like if I got, my thing was I got really impatient because I'm get stuff done, get it done fast. So I'd get impatient with my kids and they loved it because then they'd say to me, Mom, don't you think I know. Sorry about that. How about we go out for ice cream or something? So I made it up to them. And then years later, I was talking to some people and my son, who's very funny, I said, yeah, I'm really good at apologizing. And my son pipes up and says, that's because she's had so much practice. Yeah. Yeah. Start admitting your own flaws. I'm very good at that, actually. So yeah, just start admitting them and laugh at them. Say it's no, it comes from insecurity. Because think about it this way. If you want people to do what you want your way, that's like saying any other way. It's like you're insecure about your way not being the only way. That's why you have to do that, right? It makes perfect sense, doesn't it? Okay. Mm, my 3-year-old screams, well, you're not going to like my answer. My 3-year-old screams instantly to get his own way. Any advice on how to get that to stop? He's 3. It's learned behavior. It means it would have worked in the past. They only do what works at that age. Like he's learned that it works. So he must have, a scream would have been a reward before. There must have been a reward following a scream. If I was going to hand an ice cream cone to a kid and I stopped to talk to someone for a second, then they got mad and they screamed, I would take that ice cream cone and throw it in the garbage instantly. No screaming. That's what I would do. Boy, oh boy, I would do that in a shot. No way would I do that. Would I give them that ice cream cone after that? So yeah, they'll learn. So it means that it says to me that you would have gone, oh, here, okay. You see? Whereas I would have gone right in the garbage instantly. The reward is getting the attention. It's a bit more than that, I would say. Yeah, the attention, but also there's got to be some reward, not just because I'm assuming it gets negative attention, but there's got to be some other, he's got to be getting his way somehow. It's got to be working for attention potentially, but yeah, I'd say it might go a little bit an extra level. Like he might get his own way. I don't really discuss 1-year-olds. They're just forming. They're just brand new, fresh human beings. It's still a baby, so they don't know right from wrong yet. They start to learn right from wrong at about 16 to 18 months old. They start to really learn that. It's about setting them up for success. What I did, a lot of parents don't like this, but what was I going to say? Oh, yeah. What I did with my kids when they were babies and toddlers is I made my life really easy. I completely childproofed the whole house. There was nothing they could get into. Do you know how many friends of mine used to say, oh my God, he got into the toilet again and he put the toilet brush in his mouth, like brushing his teeth. And I'm like, how on earth does a 1-year-old have access to a bathroom? Like I just would never have allowed that. I completely childproofed the whole house. So I was never complaining about what my kids got into because they have no access to that stuff. And then when we went out, they weren't used to getting into stuff. So they didn't even get into stuff when we went out. Like, yeah, a little bit, but not in a big way. It didn't make them worse. It made them better, made them easier. But yeah, just childproof the whole house. Make your life easy. And there was nothing from the waist down at my house. It was all, plants were up high. It looked ridiculous. Everything was up higher. But I made my life easy. I didn't have to watch this here. Okay, I've got going. Lots of gym here. So I don't like braiding my hair. I hate it. Plaiting in Australia, they call it plaiting. My daughter loves plaiting hair. I can't stand it. This is actually more work putting elastics in it. I hate braiding my hair. Why is that? I hate it. I just can't stand it. Anyway, I'll do it sometimes. But anyway, okay, so my website is bratbusters.com. If you want to hire me, buy one of my courses or download my free behavior board. That behavior board is different because you're on there too. It teaches you how to be accountable, and your kids are watching you more than they're listening to you. So they're seeing you be accountable for your actions too. Anyway, I'm going to do one more question. Where are you from? I'm in Vancouver, and it is almost 2 p.m. right now. I don't usually do lives on Saturday. I don't know why I jumped on today. It's the one day I usually don't do lives. I usually do them Sunday. I might not do one tomorrow. I'll see. Oh, that's a big question, MKH. That's a coaching thing if you want my help with that. That's too big a question for here. Okay. God, I'm glad you said this. I said if I was going over with an ice cream cone for this 3-year-old and they started screaming because I wasn't fast enough, that would go in the garbage instantly. And then you said, and then my 3-year-old would scream even more because of that ice cream. Good. You want that scene. Behind every big scene is a big lesson. You want that. Do not avoid the scenes. If you're afraid of your children and their scenes, they are totally in charge. My attitude is bring it on. Behind every scene is a lesson. The bigger the scene, the bigger the lesson. The bigger the storm, the bigger the rainbow. If you want the rainbow without the storm, good luck with that. You have to be willing to go through that. Every time a kid acted out in front of me, I smirked. Like I would literally try not, because I'm thinking, oh, I know how to exercise my leadership. What a great opportunity. They just handed me a golden opportunity. Behind every tantrum, behind every scene, behind every fit is an opportunity for you to exercise your leadership. That ice cream cone would be probably not even in the garbage. They might run for it. It would go in the garburator. And I wouldn't smirk when I do it. I would just go, you don't scream at me like that. That's all I would do, very seriously. And then I would walk away. I would disengage. Let them scream and carry on. I could care less what they do. Let them have a fit. That's their business to process that. What they just learned was, hey, wait a minute. You're the leader. I'm not. That's all that they're learning. They just don't like it because they're used to being in charge. So the bigger the scene, the bigger the lesson. If you intervene and give that scene any attention, there's no lesson. You become part of it. You become part of the problem, not the solution. So you stay on that high road, the calm road, let them join you. Then you can interact with them. And then when they're all done, they're finished having a scene, then say, do you want to play a game? I want that ice cream cone. Well, that's not going to happen. And then disengage again. You see, you got to be that leader. How do you feel when I'm talking to you like this? Are you afraid of me, or are you just kind of like, oh, she's in charge? Which is it? Is there any fear there, or is it just, oh, she's in charge? I don't like it, but she's in charge. That's that leadership stuff. Don't be afraid of that. Don't be afraid to do that. It's good stuff. I've been doing this forever. I've been doing this for like 51 years. It just works. Kids need, crave, and want a leader. Funny thing is, I'm pretty tough with stuff like that. But kids, I was like the Pied Piper with kids. They want to be with you because you're a good leader. You're also got to mix that with fun, though. I was fun. So I'm not anymore. I'm old. But I mean, I was a fun, goofy parent. And when I was working with kids, I used a lot of humor and fun. But boy, oh boy, if they were ever cheeky or rude, I took care of business. I didn't put up with that stuff. And they respect you. And when they respect you and they look up to you, they want to please you because they like themselves more. You bring out the best in them. When you bring out the best in a child, they're drawn to you. They like you. They want to please you. And then when they're teenagers, they just don't want to disappoint you. That's what you're aiming for with teenagers. You don't want them to want to please you. That's for little kids. You do want that with little kids. But with teenagers, you don't want that. You want them to want to please themselves, right? Anyway, okay. So don't be afraid of scenes. That's where all the gold is. That's your golden opportunities. Okay, I got to run. Thanks so much for joining me. I'll hopefully be back again tomorrow. Bye now.